Cineverb. Hello and welcome to Cineverm Revolutions, an update episode where we're going to discuss some new ideas and things that we want to try out for the podcast moving forward. The major thing is we have been getting burned out of watching every new release, no matter the quality or substance of said release. So it's been degrading us slowly. Especially for me, I feel like I'm less well versed in cinema quality films than my co-host David. So I feel like I've been missing out on a lot of great films, and because of my work schedule and stuff like that, like I don't have enough time to watch a bunch of movies. So this is kind of like my only excuse to watch movies. So I think it would really help me and hopefully the podcast and the listeners to like maybe get exposed to films that that are not talking about as much, or they just don't come up as much because they're older films or quote unquote classics or what have you. So yeah, we're going to be changing that. What do you think about this new concept, David?
Yeah, I think it started when I was looking at the 2022 list of movies and just getting really depressed at seriously like every major release in 2022 is like a sequel or a spin-off of a property that already exists, and it was just very depressing. And there's a million other podcasts I feel like that cover every film that comes out every week. And so it's kind of like in our pursuit of like finding our niche, I feel like and just like our tagline of for the love of cinema, like we want to really encourage people to like help people find that movie that gets them obsessed with movies. And statistically, that's not going to be the movie that's coming out every week. It's probably a movie that came out 30 years ago or whatever. It's going to be the movies that are time tested. So yeah, I think that's what started moving me into that, wanting to do that. And then you wanted to do it as well. So I was like, oh man, that's perfect. We can start formulating our future.
Yeah. And I guess the easiest way to look at it for the listeners is like, imagine this as like a ever growing, never ending film club. So we are going to still watch newer films, but they're going to be a little more selected. So for a new film for us to watch, me and David both have to have a desire to watch said film. So there are a couple examples of big films that we want to watch, for the rest of the year, like Wes Anderson's new film, PTA's new film. If it's A24, we'll probably like want to check it out. Any of the like big films, not big in scope, but big in like artistry and critical reception, we'll definitely make it a point to check those out and to see like what this year has to say about cinema, because we are still going to focus on like keeping up with the great works of cinema as the year continues. But in those intermittent weeks where there's, nothing too exciting from a cinema lens, we'll pick other films. So
life is too short to ignore all the great movies that have already come out, I feel like.
Yeah. And then I guess so the first big one that we're going to do is Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters. And that was kind of inspired by my deep love for Paul Schrader, just off the two films of his that I've seen. Like he's of immense interest to me as a creator. So we'll begin with Mishima, and then I think we're going to do Taxi Driver next. So those should be the next two episodes. And then, we're not going to keep a stringent schedule on what the future releases are, but we will be, deciding, the week ahead or even 2 or 3 weeks ahead for certain. So maybe I'll start like posting those on like social media. So if like people want to, watch along with us, that'll be available to you. And then the other cool idea that we have and that will be evolving as we continue, and like we'll set rules and like other uh, concepts around it, is we're thinking about starting a canon list. What do you think about
The
that?
canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a master list of the great movies. Roger Ebert had his, the great movies list. Lots of critics
Yeah.
do. You got the 1001 movies to see before you die. You got AFI's top 100. So we want to make our own, and we're thinking about what the rules are going to be, the criteria, but basically it's going to be a list that kind of gets better as time goes on, and we'll be adding movies to it, and then every once in a while reviewing the list to make sure that the movies on the list are what we would consider the great ones. And just building it over time as we're making the podcast.
Yeah. And then that list, we are going to try our best to make it more of an objective list, like a list of quote unquote quality, or films that we think, push cinema forward or represents it in a amazing light. And that could give, a landing place for people to start, discovering, the greatest works of cinema,
Yes.
And the exciting thing about the canon specifically is that's going to allow us to, have more interactive, interesting content on the website, cineverm.com. And, that's where you'll find, the criteria and the rules and the requirements for said films. And, we're going to have links. We're going to have the list of films and then links to the exact podcast episodes that we talked about them, or reviews that we have, and or other discussions surrounding that film. So instead of like, a lot of the lists you find online, like the AFI Top 100, it's just a list of titles, and there's nothing really, you can't be like, oh, well, what is this actually, or what did the people who chose it thought about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're hoping to do a better version of what they're doing by having, you could look at, let's say, Taxi Driver were to get into the canon. You could, see our review, which is a non-spoiler review. You could listen to it and be like, I don't think it's for me. So, like, you don't have to waste your time when like, I don't like violence, or I don't like films about toxic masculinity, or whatever that film is about, because I haven't seen it yet. But I'm assuming those things. But, and you can kind of curate yourself. So I think that's going to be super exciting to have that on the website and have another, like, thing people can discover. And then, like, who doesn't love lists?
Who doesn't love lists? And also, I don't know if you've talked about this, but I think we said that we're not going to rank the list. It's going to be just a grouping. Or what do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. For sure, I don't know. I like the challenge of ranking.
Yeah, it's fun to rank, for sure.
Yeah, I would like to rank them and make it like an event, like because I was thinking like maybe every 50 episodes we would rank, the canon, and kind of have like a episode where we're just like arguing and discussing.
Yes. Okay.
Like, and the ranking would be, superficial. Like, I feel like most top 100 film lists, like the number 1 and the number 50 isn't that large of a difference.
Yeah.
If you're talking about all of cinema.
Yeah.
But I think that's just
so many movies.
A fun idea. And then it's always fun to have the number 1. Like, I think that's just kind of a statement, like everyone's like, oh, it's Vertigo, or whatever it is now. I forgot.
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, Citizen Kane or whatever.
That's the other one. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. It will make for some fun discussions and re-rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know, in the future I would like, like once we build a bigger community, like maybe we have more interactions, and like maybe we could do, like, maybe other people can influence the rankings of said list, like, and that could be a cool, like, the voting wouldn't be voting into what's in the list because we are deciding that, but it could be voting where the rankings are, and maybe that could like sway us or.
Well, people, I could see people suggesting movies that have gone past our radar that they think would be, should be in the list, and we could watch it and see if we think the same. And and then people can definitely like if anyone can give us a good argument for why our rankings are wrong, then we could talk about it and reevaluate.
Yeah.
It can be partly crowdsourced and partly curated by us.
Yeah. So those things are basically the two big exciting announcements moving forward. Yes, I think that is all. Was there anything else?
No, I just think it's going to lead. I feel like it has the potential, like it's a good compass for us to like lead us in the direction of good movies, as we go along.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's got a lot of potential to expand our podcast and our cinema knowledge and our expertise.
Yeah. And to actually allow us to find our audience, because I guess that was the other thing I should have mentioned earlier is like, even though we were reviewing all the new films, I don't think we were very positive on a lot of newer films.
Yeah, it kind of
so like the people.
It gets tiring watching like 5 out of 10s over and over, where it's just like, okay, it was all right. It was just another one of those, just another Marvel movie, and it was fine, I guess.
Yeah. And then like even for that, the people who do like those films, they would listen to us and then be like, I don't like those guys. So it's there's no way to actually build an audience when we're reviewing things we don't like. So the people who do like them won't like us. So, we should review the things we do like, and then people will like what we like because they like us and because they like what we like. It's like finding your friend group versus... Yeah.
I'm thinking also like I'm just thinking about this now, but I kind of want it to be sort of like if I had discovered it when I was like 17, I guess, when I was just getting into movies and starting to watch, the AFI Top 100, and was reading the 1001 Movies See Before You Die. Like if I had discovered this podcast, I would be like so excited to like go on this journey, like while being able to like listen to people, discuss it, while I'm watching the movies. And I think that'd be cool. So I want to make the podcast that my younger self would have wanted to listen to.
Exactly. And that added discussion, like I feel like, when I watched First Reformed, 2 or 3 years ago, however long it was ago, like that was such a huge moment for me in my like cinema discovery trajectory. So like if we could review the next First Reformed and someone watched it because it's on our canon, and then you could listen to us and then they could also add their opinion to it, like it's just so much more fulfilling to have someone to speak to and listen to, because like I still haven't found anyone that I can talk First Reformed to, because everyone's like, oh, that's that crazy movie with the eco environment warrior. I'm like, that's not even what the movie's about. So
yes, I'm excited, and hopefully like eventually like our website could be the hub for all the discussions going on about the movies we talk about and the reviews and everything. If we could get like a good hot discussion going about every movie.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I think that's all the updates we have for today. We are very excited. Oh, another thing. So when we're watching a film, we're going to have like an added segment at the end where we ask the question, is this canon?
Yeah.
So, and then that will lead to the discussion of, the rules and requirements that we will lay out on the website, and we'll mention them on the next episode when we go into that discussion. And it'll get that stamp of approval. And then, so we are very excited to continue forward for the love of cinema. And thanks for listening.
Yep. See ya.
Cineverse.